Yes, hello.
Just,
Yes, this is.
how you doing? Did you made a complaint back in about an arrest that happened on March 5th? One of the cops here?
The cops are where?
The transit district 30. The train.
Oh, yeah, I did. Unfortunately, sir, I apologize. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Alright, so you okay with everything?
No, I just have been, dealing with my disabilities, as I stated before, and I wasn't able to come back in, you police officers' presence. It's a struggle for me because the same people that I have to report crime to, you guys are the same ones that harm me. So I've been dealing with that. A lot. And
do you want to tell me what happened that day, or?
I actually already did in detail, great detail, on a few reports themselves and verbally. So the last thing was for me to provide video and to come to like a Coney Island location. I was to be driven to a Coney Island location. I forget what to do, but that's what I was last told. But I haven't been able to muster up enough strength or courage to do that. Even though I still need this guy arrested and found for the crime. He harmed me a lot. Yeah.
All right. What's it called? What I got here is that. All right. The mail that you got to a location where it knocked your phone off. Your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was arrested. He was just released on a disappearance ticket, so he had to go back to court.
Yeah, I understand that, and then the district attorney actually declined to prosecute, even though this man was arrested based upon probable cause of the officers.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at the end of the day, that falls on the cops. Want to do so much, that falls on the attorney.
Yeah.
And what they want to do. So if they don't agree or see enough to prosecute them, they just drop it. They decline.
See, but the funny thing was, you said the magic words. You said see enough. There was 2 witnesses that got off the train, that was testifying or speaking to the officers on scene on my behalf. One of them even had video of the incident. I even had video of the incident, and it was known that the complainants actually fabricated their complaints against me and falsified the instance or what actually happened. This was known, and it was a false arrest that actually took place on March 5th. And if you called for the guy, then that's one thing, for the man smacking the phone out of my hand. But also, how would you feel assisting me regarding police corruption that took place during that arrest? Is there someone at your precinct that I could speak to about that at the moment?
Not here, police corruption?
Yeah. Regarding the arrest that you just called me about, since you called me for that specific arrest, I want to speak to somebody a little bit higher than you, or maybe you. I don't know if you could take a report from me, or if you want to take a statement from me.
No, you have to call you complaint board.
Okay, but you wanted me to when you first called, you wanted me to tell you more about the incident. So I want to tell you more about the incident. Can we do that?
Yeah, just tell what happened on that day.
Okay, you're recording, right?
No, I'm here on the phone.
Okay, are you recording this phone call?
No.
Is the NYPD recording this phone call?
No, it's just me on my phone.
Okay, will there be a record of this phone call available if
I'm just doing just writing down a summary because I gotta speak to you and the officer that.
Okay. Are you calling me from a personal cell phone or a company or NYPD issued cell phone?
I'm calling you from a cell phone from NYPD.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay. So on the day of March 5th, I was the victim of an attack on the Q train, and I was just exercising my First Amendment right to record my surroundings as I was in public. Police officers arrived after the incident and arrested me, even though they knew that they were supposed to take into account, I think it's CPL 140 4C, the, what do you call that, the dual arrest statute, stating that only one person is supposed to be arrested. It's not needed for both parties to be arrested at the time of the incident or after the investigation. So the wrong party was arrested. Well, actually, both of us was, as you stated, that the guy was arrested, but then he got a DAT. I didn't get a DAT, I guess because of how many times I was falsely arrested by the NYPD prior to that incident.
Did you go through the system?
Yeah, a lot of times, but many of the cases were dismissed.
But that day, did you have to go see a judge?
Yeah, I actually did. Yeah.
What was the outcome of that?
The outcome of that, the outcome of that was the fact that there was a criminal complaint that I was hearing about as I was in the central bookings. I had asked the CO why it was taking so long for me to see a judge, because it was past the 24 hours allotted by law for me to see a judge or be brought in front of a judge, and it was about like 3 or 4 days. And he said that word for word, verbatim, that they, meaning the district attorney, quote unquote, was fixing the report, end quote, fixing the report. So things were being changed, and I actually found out that things were changed, because the initial charge that I was arrested for was assault, and then it turned into attempted coercion, first degree, second degree, menacing, harassment, obstruction of governmental administration. All of these charges that I knew nothing of, and me being an innocent person who actually was being framed by the complainants and the officers on the scene. Those extra charges was really, like, they flabbergasted me, you know. So what happened, the result of the first arraignment was the fact that the case went forward on a completely facially insufficient felony complaint, because none of the elements of the penal codes, the crimes, none of the elements were met in the factual portion of the complaint. So I don't know if that answers your question, but the case went forward towards grand jury on a facially insufficient complaint.
All right, so you're saying that the other guy is falsely accusing you of something, right?
Yeah, and the district attorney's paralegal, because the second complainant was a district, or is a district attorney's paralegal, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Oh, and I forgot to tell you a very special portion of this case here, and the turnout, the turnout that you asked for. The gentleman was completely released off of the case, but he was the one that got me arrested. So probable cause was for the arrest was based upon his allegations of me hitting him with my cell phone in his head. That is what got me arrested. So now, if that man was released from the case, like you said, the attorney is the one that controls that. If he was released and declined to prosecute, if that happened, then that means that the probable cause for arrest evaporated, you know? And when I get the trial...
So he accused you of hitting him in the head with the phone, right?
Yeah, and then when I get the trial, I'm gonna state these type of things unless the judge strikes it from the record. But there's no more probable cause for the arrest. Do you think? Like,
so ensure that you're...
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I ask you a question? Is there probable cause if, like, something like that happens? If someone accuses someone of a crime, that someone that was accused gets arrested, but then, like, the person that's doing the accusing disappears. What happens to the case after that? Or what happens to the charges against the accused? Like,
I mean, if something happens where we arrive somewhere, somebody says, hey, this guy did this to me, and whatever evidence was there collected, obviously if the guy never shows up again, then the case will be dropped. can intermediate complaint.
Okay, because the thing is, like, there's a second complainant, like I told you in this case, and it's the district attorney's paralegal, a woman. So I guess the complainant switched to being her, like, you know what I mean? So if the guy was taken off of the case and it switched to her, I would have technically needed to be rearrested for the charges, if you think about it, because if new charges are being brought with the woman as opposed to the man, that would take a completely separate arrest, as opposed to using the same arrest that I was just arrested for, like hitting the man, and that's the only charge that was ever brought up. He was released before the new charges popped up. The DA filed all those charges against me and released the gentleman at the same time. So I really, like, it's very confusing. I don't know if I'm rambling on, but if you get the gist of what I'm saying,
it's a whole big thing.
yeah, all this law stuff is really confusing. Yeah.
I just need to get something from. So pretty much, in short, is that you're upset that he was released and his case was dismissed.
Yeah, and where's the probable cause for the case to go forward if that gentleman was the reason I got arrested? He was the sole reason why. Because the woman didn't claim that
you're upset that since his case got dismissed, you're worried about your end, like your case, why you were.
Yeah, because the female didn't. The female didn't.
Disappeared. You haven't seen him or dealt with him since, right?
Yeah, no, the female didn't make any claims against me. She didn't say I committed any crimes against her. It was just a gentleman at the time, because the sergeant from the transit precinct, she told me that the man just said that I hit him in his head with my cell phone.
You let her walk away? He said you hit him with his with the phone. Yes, he's claiming injuries to his.
He's claiming. Okay, but you just said you can't, or you need to see the signs.
Okay. I'm gonna have to arrest you as well, because if you read the law, both of you, okay?
No, but you just wanted me to have proof. You wanted me to show you proof before you arrested him.
He said,
no, wait, but ma'am, I apologize.
He told me that he has pain.
I know, and I told you I had pain.
I told him, I said, I don't see anything.
Yeah, I know, and you see mine, and you see mine, and you said you saying that I never touched him.
With the cell phone.
I never. You have two witnesses that are saying that I didn't.
He's saying yes. He's saying, okay, I wasn't there. I was going to see. I'm acting in good faith. He's telling me.
You're not acting in good faith because you were gonna make it a harassment report.
He's telling me exactly. But now he told me he doesn't injuries.
I told you I have injuries.
Exactly.
And I have visible injuries. No. You don't arrest. No. You don't arrest both people. You know it's frowned upon to arrest both parties. You arrest the agitator, and I know that. That is by law. You are prompted to arrest the aggressor. He is the aggressor. You have three people stating that he's the aggressor. Can you please arrest the aggressor as your laws indicate?
Let me have show me the video that shows that he hit you.
I never said he hit me. I never hit him. He never hit me. He never hit me, and he never hit me, and I never hit him. So this man here.
Wait. So from this man, you need facts
because I just told you, man. I told you he reached for my phone and his fingernail scratched my hand. Yeah.
I'm trying to be
Look, he's acting like he's...
Do me a favor. Do you have any proof of what happened here? What I showed you. Yeah. Okay.
So he's on the floor now.
He's just passed out.
You know what? I just want to hospitalize you. I'm sorry.
Miss.
You know what? He can be back. He can be out. He can be through the hospital for injuries, you know? Okay?
Say what again now, please? One more time for me, please.
You've been arrested. Put your fine behind your
Why,
back.
miss?
Sir, because you're
To me, he stole my phone and harassed me and spit in my face. Look, bro, please have to leave my phone.
I got you, man. I feel you.
Just because I showed that I had injuries, that's what you all do. Because he's a legal professional. I'm pretty sure he works for the courts. I'm pretty sure he's an agent.
I don't know anything about it.
You had to get his name. Yes, you do. Somebody got his name. Somebody got his name. One of your officers do. I told you first that he assaulted me. You just said that he said that I hit him in the head with my phone. These two people here are telling you that they never saw that.
Just let it go, bro. Let it go. Send me the video that you got. That's it. Leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Don't get involved. That's it.
Same story. Are you going to work? Are you sure?
Should the bus come to the base? Do you want to have the wings?
Try to get you up to see you.
We're going to Hoyt and Skimmerhorn train station.
Unless you want to.
I don't want to go home.
What this dude is you with that dude?
Yeah.
I don't even mean to involve you on this show. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this.
Yeah, I have their information. Yo, what's gonna happen with the witnesses? Because we're gonna transport the other guy to the station. I have their information. So. Okay, 10-4. All right. Okay.
That's good.
All
That's
right.
good.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Okay. I have your info. No, you're not getting an arrest number. But I have your information. We will call you for statements, okay?
Okay, and what's your badge?
Candace.
Can I?
Absolutely. 17955.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna call my daughter.
I'm in public. I'm in public. Officer, this is happening again. This is happening again. This is happening the second time. I'm in public. I'm in public. This is second time. This is what's gonna happen again? That's what you called?
Yeah, I know.
That's right. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's the father, DA agent getting exposed, and that's what you're doing? That's what you're doing? Framing people? That's what you're doing?
That's why your boy got more trouble now, you idiot.
That's right. That's right. Say something else, man. Say something. Come on. Say it.
You're an idiot.
Say more. Punk.
So that was the thing that gave him. I actually recorded that as well, so I have her recorded saying that, and she said that the man just said that I hit him in his head. So she was about to arrest him on my behalf, but then came back to tell me that I would have to get arrested as well, and it was because of him saying that. So if that was the only reason why I got arrested and he's released from the case, that means that the entire arrest is like fruit of the poisonous tree. If you understand, like the Fourth Amendment seizure, that type of thing I'm referencing, you know. So there's no more probable cause.
What was I gonna say? When did you get released from this arrest?
I stayed in jail for maybe about a month and a half. I think April 20.
You were in jail for a month and a half on that, or there was something else in your record?
Oh yeah, maybe it was something else, but it still connects to that because
Now what happened with this charge right here? Whatever you got charged with.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that this incident date that you called me about, that arrest actually triggered a violation in Manhattan, with the same case where I told you the district attorney, his paralegal is the complainant. That's his case in Manhattan as well. So I violated the bail that he was or that he is the assistant DA on.
Okay, so the charges that you had from this arrest in March, these were dropped, but it caused this other thing, right?
Oh yeah, no, they weren't dropped. The case is still open. I'm still facing felony charges.
So this one with the phone hitting the guy in the head?
Yeah.
Alright, so when's the next time you gotta go court for it?
I'm not sure.
Alright, when's the last time you went to court? You know?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I went to court one time a little while ago, and I think they told me that I had to come to court on like some day, but they asked me, okay, first off, they asked me how was the case in Manhattan going. I told them that I didn't know. The assistant district attorney on the case actually on the record started telling the judge the information he was asking for regarding the case in Manhattan and its current status. So that district attorney had connections and communications with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, unless she was lying to the judge on record. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure that that district attorney knew my next appearance date in Manhattan with that case. So maybe since that district attorney knew my Manhattan next court date, they should have. Since they should have known that, maybe they know when my next court date is for the Brooklyn case. Because I don't know. I just went to the Manhattan court case, and that's the last date I remember.
For the case from Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
Not the case in Brooklyn?
No. Do you know when I go to court for that case in Brooklyn?
No, I mean, that would be on your end.
Can you check that for me?
No, that would be on your end. I have no idea when you got to go to court. You'll have to check the courts with that. Brooklyn court.
Oh no, but you called me about the same case, so can you just tell me when the
I'm
next one?
calling about I just don't call you about the case. I just tell me what happened. I have to give a call to the complainant who's making a call against. They're upset that the disputing arrest that the cops made, saying, you know, cops.
So what is this? What's the purpose of you calling? Like what's gonna be the outcome or the next step from you calling me?
I'm just going to put in a brief summary of what I spoke to you about and what you said.
Okay.
You're sure, and just something small. It's not going to be a whole thing. The whole thing with the Manhattan thing, that doesn't get involved here. It's just about what happened that day on March 5th and what your main complaint is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because the complaint came in here, and so I have it here, allegation is disputed arrest. Then I have here.
Actually, hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I want to say that I'm the defendant listed in the case that you're speaking about, and on March 5th.
Yeah, when you get arrested, you're gonna always be a defendant.
Yeah. No.
even the other guy was.
Yeah, I know. Can you just give me a second to state these few things real quickly to you? On March 5th, 2018, I was falsely arrested by officers of the 84th Precinct for allegedly violating Penal Law 120 1 regarding an incident which took place aboard an MTA Transit Authority subway train. It's actually the Q line, and the time was approximately 4:50 p.m. Next, I'm 100% innocent of the arrest charge, and I vehemently challenge the validity and the constitutionality of said arrest. It is a material fact that on March 5th, 2018, committed the crime of harassment in the second degree and attempted robbery in the second degree when she reached for and grabbed my cell phone as I was using it to video record her, a First Amendment constitutionally protected activity outside of her personal space aboard a public subway train, and that's actually a place where she could not have had or reasonably believed that she had any expectation of privacy within that type of environment. So also it's accurately held that society doesn't recognize a public subway train which transports thousands of commuters daily as a place where one would expect privacy. So it's also material fact regarding elements of crimes that I'm going to establish throughout this statement here. That's the complainant that you're calling me about. She reached for and grabbed my cell phone, and I, out of fear, intimidation, and endangerment, stood up out of my seat on the Q train because I did not want to be further subjected to additional criminal acts by my. It's also material fact that after getting up out of the seat aboard the train, I began to engage in constitutionally protected freedom of speech regarding an unrelated criminal case, and that's the one I just told you about, sir, the Manhattan case, where the Manhattan, New York District Attorney's Office and the NYPD has initiated prosecution against me for crimes I didn't commit. I also spoke on the fact that that day in the train on March 5th, I also spoke on the fact that the District Attorney's Office in Manhattan and the NYPD are both purposefully withholding exculpatory NYPD surveillance video footage / evidence from the day of incident, and that day of incident is July 5th, 2016, and that incident date is pertaining to the unrelated arrest that I just mentioned. It's also a material fact that my speech on the Q train was not false remarks made with, on March 5th, I'll state that over. On March 5th, 2018, it is a material fact that my speech on that date was not false remarks made with actual malice, nor a reckless disregard for the truth. My statements were specific and verifiable. They were fair comments, facts, and opinions. The complainant that you called me about, she works for the District Attorney's Office as a paralegal. She actually works for the aforementioned District Attorney's Office that I told you is framing me or actually withholding Brady material and exculpatory video evidence from NYPD Argus cameras. Give me a second, sir. I'm just gathering my thoughts. Thank you for listening. It is a material fact, sir, that I protected free speech on the Q train, was criticizing the public officials responsible for my false persecution or prosecution, and given the magnitude of police, prosecutorial, judicial misconduct present in that case, I know for certain the issues I spoke of out loud on board that Q train on March 5th, 2018 was of public concern. And public concern with me speaking words like that regarding my First Amendment right to speech, that's protected. So that's the reason why I state that it is of public concern, because corruption in the police precinct, corruption in court, and corrupt lawyers, that is of public concern, and I can prove corruption, and those statements aren't just like blanketed statements. Give me a second. I'm gathering my thoughts, and I'm still hoping that you're taking my statement. Okay, I have to say this. In the New York Times, the newspaper, there was actually they were actually brought to court, and it is said in court, a court that was involved in a case with the New York Times. Yes.
Yeah. To the point, what is the main complaint towards the officers?
Okay, let me get to that. And okay, so since you told me that corruption and stuff, that would have to be forwarded to the internal affairs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're just trying to find out.
The complaint you have here.
Okay,
so what I have here is you're upset that the other guy had a DAT. So the DAs, they didn't do the job correctly. I need to know about the officers that arrested you. What is your complaint?
Okay, I was actually getting to that, because you would need to know my stance on the incident itself, which I am breaking down now, to then understand what I'm going to tell you about the officers. So you just have to give me a second. I understand your question exactly, and I'm going to get to it in a second. Please pardon my reading. It's hard for me to read with the disabilities that I'm dealing with, from police brutality and depression and all that stuff, PTSD and stuff. So, in a case against the New York Times newspaper, the court felt that debate on matters of public concern, the same public concern that I just mentioned a few moments ago, public concern should be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, though it may well include vehement and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. And this is exactly what I did that day on the train. I was speaking at almost the top of my voice regarding the case that I told you of in Manhattan, where I'm being framed for punching an elderly white woman that I never punched under NYPD Argus cameras on a block of Mayor Bill de Blasio's office, where the district attorney in that case is not releasing the video, and the NYPD is not releasing the video. So that's what I was speaking about when I was talking about the public officials on the train on March 5th. And the public officials, public officials, their designation applies at the very least to those who have or appear to have substantial responsibility or control over the conduct of government affairs. So the courts have held that the recitation of official actions or statements by public bodies, if substantially accurate, is protected, even if the implications are harmful. So now everything that I stated on the train on March 5th, it was painstakingly accurate, because it happened to me, and I studied law, and I just stated the facts. The cameras are being withheld. I am being framed. I am innocent. I have had 13 false arrests. 8 cases have been dismissed in my favor. These are all things that I stated out loud. I stated that she worked for the district attorney's office, and it doesn't matter if she's off the clock. She's still a governmental employee. These are all things that I stated regarding my First Amendment right to speech. So, like I said, I have to break this down to then tell you the complaint about the officers, because me knowing these things means that the police officers that arrived on scene had to know it as well. But it seems as if they didn't, because they arrested me, and I'm going to break down my complaint on their arrest in a second. It's a material fact that attempted to coerce me to stop me videotaping her by compulsion and the use of physical force when she reached for and grabbed my cell phone without my consent. Accordingly, a function of free speech under the American system of government is to invite dispute. It may indeed best serve its high purpose when it induces a condition of unrest, creates dissatisfaction with conditions as they are, or even stirs people to anger, as my comments on that train did to. And the second complainant for this case, I guess my statements did do that to them that day. It made them, it gave them a sense of unrest. They was dissatisfied, so much so to the point where they robbed me from my cell phone. So it's also a material fact that my speech, when it was directed to and not the other 100 passengers on the train, was not made to harm her materially with respect to her health, safety, business, calling, career, financial condition, reputation, or personal calling. It was made to better her as a human being and make her aware of the bad apples she works and interacts with on a daily basis. The message of my speech on that date, March 5th, 2018, the incident that you're calling me about, sir, it was everything. I told her that everything in the dark will come to light. The overall message was, do not do wrong to me. Become more upright and honest and care about innocent people's freedom. Don't lie on them, as her office is lying on me. I told you, she works for a district attorney named Timothy Duda, and he works in the Manhattan District Attorney's office as an assistant DA. So this is a very, very big situation here. And just as an individual attending an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting for the first time must admit and acknowledge the fact that they are an alcoholic before they can recover, so should my son Samhan understand that she's dealing with bad apples and that I'm being framed for a crime that I never committed on the block of Mayor Bill de Blasio's office under multiple NYPD Argus cameras that were quote-unquote inoperable on the day of the incident. None of them worked. So it's also a material fact that the second complainant that actually said I hit him in the head with the cell phone and that actually was released from the case, and now he's a ghost that disappeared. He witnessed me speaking to the commuters on the train, and when he witnessed this, he came over to where I was at and committed a crime of harassment in the second degree by pushing me 2 feet from my seat that I was standing in front of at the time. And all these crimes that I'm representing to you, sir, I want you to document them against the gentleman because, as I told you the status of my complaint against that man was the fact that I was supposed to bring in the video that I had from my cell phone on that date, and I was supposed to be taken to detectives in Coney Island to go forward in some type of complaint with your transit precinct. So,
what are you supposed to take?
Video of the incident. They're waiting for video of the incident right now. Detectives. I haven't been able to muster up the strength.
Alright, whenever you get that to them, then they'll come back around here. But
okay, well, it's a material. Hey, I'm not finished. I apologize. I'm not finished. I'm still giving a statement.
No, I'm just wanna have at one point here that I spoke to you. You were upset that the other guy got DT.
Oh no, that's not correct. That's not correct. No. The thing is, I'm still giving you a statement. So what you're saying right now is not going to be correct, and it won't be my statement. I want to continue. It's a material fact that my committed the crime of robbery in the second degree when he forcefully hit/smacked my cell phone from my hand when he picked it up from the floor.
Hold on.
Yes.
Alright, hold on. You're saying the other guy. The other guy has nothing to do with this. I'm putting out your stuff against the cops. I need to know what the other guy did to you. I need to know what you're complaining against the cop is.
Yeah, I know, but as I'm telling you, sir, everything that I'm stating now will lead you to better understand when I get to the point of telling you what happened with the cops on scene.
Get me to the point when the cops showed up Get to the point what they did, because what happened beforehand doesn't matter because they weren't there. I need to know what the cops did with you when you came up to them.
Okay, just give me a second, sir. Give me a second. I'm trying to get that information for you. Alright, so on the train after the gentleman smacked the phone out of my hand, picked it up from the floor and put it in his pocket, I pressed the red distress button that was on the train, and the train stopped at DeKalb. When it stopped at DeKalb, police officers arrived. I rushed to be the first complainant to actually speak to them as they arrived on scene, and I told them what had happened, the story that you're trying to rush me from speaking about. It is a material fact that the NYPD, after the train had docked at the DeKalb train station on the Q line due to my distress call, it is a material fact that they violated my equal protection rights.
How long since you might be doing it?
Are you talking to me?
Continue.
Okay. It is a material fact that the NYPD, after the train had docked at the DeKalb train station on the Q line due to my distress call, it's a material fact that they violated my equal protection rights when the responding officers did not arrest after I had given them my account of what had just happened involving. When I had finished giving my side of what happened, I was told by the responding police officers that they have to wait for their supervisor to come on scene and to speak to me. It's a material fact that the responding NYPD supervisor who arrived on the scene and took the alleged complainant's account and my account of what happened violated my equal protection rights when she refused to arrest or for the crimes aforementioned. It's a material fact that the responding NYPD supervisor, after hearing what happened to me and listening to two random defense witnesses who got off of the train to help exculpate me, it's a fact that those witnesses corroborated the fact that they both saw Munir Khalid smack and then steal my cell phone from me. With all of that being known by the supervisor, she violated my equal protection rights when she expressed to me in her professional opinion that the crime she believed there was probable cause for was harassment in the third degree of violation. It's also a material fact that the NYPD officers on scene failed to follow guidelines and procedures in the NYPD patrol guide and arrest the apparent aggressor, given all of the claims that I made of the multiple crimes committed against me by my son Samhan and Munir Khalid. It's also a material fact that the NYPD purposefully did not use their reasonably prudent professional judgment when, after an entire 30 to 40 minute investigation of the facts on the platform at the DeKalb train station, and with no complaint of injury by or the NYPD, chose to arrest me after already agreeing to only arrest Munir Khalid for committing assault against me. He committed assault when he snatched my cell phone and cut my hand.
Who did they arrest first?
They said that they was going to arrest Munir Khalid first. And the sergeant was speaking to both of us, and we were both detained and not in handcuffs at the time. The sergeant spoke to me last and told me that she was going over to Munir Khalid to then arrest him. I have that on video. She walked over to him and spoke to him for a second, came back to me after a few moments and said that he just stated to her in that period of time that she walked over there that I hit him with my cell phone. He never stated this for the entire time of the investigation. He just stated it when she went over to make the arrest. So that's obviously someone making false claims just to get the next person arrested. And her being a supervisor, she didn't see that with her reasonably prudent judgment that she was supposed to have. So it's a material fact that I began to plead with the NYPD supervisor to arrest for assault and sway her from her erroneous notion of harassment because he had caused me a flesh wound on my right hand when he hit, smacked, knocked my cell phone from my hand. It is a material fact that after sharing all that I have in this phone call with you, sir, that the NYPD supervisor, after hearing all of my claims against my, she said that, quote unquote, verbatim, that this is just harassment. And that's in a video that I have. It's a material fact that the NYPD officers on scene committed the crime of compounding a crime. That's Penal Law 215.45(1)(a) and B. When the NYPD refused to arrest / prosecute in order to gain favor as benefit from Maisan Seman and Munir Khalid. It's a material fact that committed the crime of compounding a crime, Penal Law 215.45(1)(a) and B, when she refused to report the criminal actions of to the police in order to gain favor as benefit from Munir Khalid. This person, she saw him committing crimes of robbery, assault, and harassment, and menacing, all in front of her eyes on a train, and did not get him arrested, or did not seek to arrest him. The complainant that works for the district attorney's office that took an oath to the Constitution to protect citizens of New York. She saw this man rob me, and at that time, we both, me and her, were just speaking, exercising our First Amendment rights, and this man came over, I guess in defense of her, and committed crimes against me. He robbed my phone, smacked my phone from my hand, assaulted me because he cut me with his fingernail as he smacked the phone from me. That's the injury that actually got him arrested. I had a flesh wound that the sergeant or the supervisor actually saw on the platform, and that's why she said she was going to walk over to him and arrest him, but then came back and said she had to arrest me also because he just claimed that I hit him with the cell phone. So as you can see, that's a clear violation of my equal protection rights, and there's a conspiracy going on to have me prosecute. Yes.
All right, I have to go back out on the street soon. I need to know. Okay, so I need to put something in the thumb.
Okay.
So let me just give you the first sentence I got here. All right. Main thing is you believe the officers did not handle the job correctly and you were falsely arrested. Correct?
I hear what you're saying. Okay.
Right. Correct.
Yes, I hear what you're saying.
All right. What else do you feel that you feel that your crime was only harassment?
Oh no, were you listening to any of the words that I just stated to you?
Yeah, no, I heard you. It's a lot going on, so it's hard to pick up everything because you're coming in with penal law stuff. I just need to know.
Oh, that's what you should be paying. You should be keen with that stuff. I thought you would.
Yeah. The sergeant came and told you. Patrol supervisor told you that was just harassment, correct?
Yes.
Well, what did you say was harassment? What the guy did to you?
Yeah, what the guy did to me.
Okay, what the guy did to you, she said it was just harassment.
Yeah, she was willing to file a harassment report against the man, and I told you I was trying to go against that erroneous notion of harassment to tell her that I was robbed from, theft took place against me, assault, menacing, and harassment, not just harassment.
Okay. Now they did lock up both of you, correct?
Yeah, but then they released him, and then declined to prosecute, even though there was charges against him.
Well, there was. I don't know if it was declined to prosecute. He had to go back to court.
No, it was the declined to prosecute.
Did you hear that from the DA?
Yeah, I did in open court.
Okay, so
and I heard it from the defense lawyer on the case. So I'm pretty sure she wouldn't be lying to me.
So that's on their end. So right now, the cops, they locked up both of you guys. So after that, it comes down to the courts.
Yeah, I know I'm being framed by the courts. You guys helped the courts frame me better. So you arrested me for the initial charge.
That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
Everything I was saying in your statement,
yeah,
it's all good. Just what I need to know for just to keep it in a summary. To summarize, is that you guys were both locked up, and you feel that the cops arresting you helped the courts frame it, correct?
That may be true. I'm not sure. I don't want to sound crazy.
Oh, I'm just going by what you said. You just said that the cops helped made you get this position. Now you feel the courts are framing you, correct?
Well, if you look at it from what I stated, you said that the officers just arrested me and arrested the gentleman, and everything after that was handled by the courts. So if I'm stating that...
So that's how it goes. The cops, they bring you both in. They see if they gave this guy a disappearance ticket. I'm guessing you went to court, and your defense attorney had probably called you, or whatever he did, and told you, listen, his case was...
Yeah, he was released from the case, yeah.
He was released from the case, okay. So that's... And I guess after you found that out is when you made the complaint, correct?
Yeah, I did. Since it wouldn't be seen as retaliatory anymore. Because he's not a party.
That's the case in point. That's all I need to know is that we were both here. He didn't appreciate how the cops on the scene handled it. And you feel like the case should have been, that Kelly Manure should have dealt with more than what he got, correct?
I just don't want to be framed for crimes that I never committed.
No, I know.
And I don't want to go to jail and do serve a prison sentence for crimes that I never committed. When there's evidence that can exculpate me, I have video evidence of March 5th, and there should be video evidence of July 5th, 2016. The second case.
Listen to what I'm saying. Since I wasn't there, this falls on me now because these people are in my unit. So now I have to just put in something here that I'm speaking to you. All right. 1, you don't like how the cops went about it. 2, you feel that you were falsely arrested. 3, you don't like that aluminum guy DAT. 4, you feel that you're being framed by the court for something that you shouldn't be going through.
Yeah, and how is you taking this report or this testimony from me? How is that going to help or benefit me?
No, this is because I just have to get this. I just have to put this in. This doesn't mean that after you speak to me, this is over. Because after it goes to me, it goes to people higher up above me, way above me.
Yeah, I know, but how is it going to benefit or help me?
Well, you're making complaints against the cops, right? Are you looking to get these cops in trouble, or what are you looking to do?
I'm looking to be, for my innocence to be proven, and for you, all you LEOs, to stop prosecuting me falsely.
For that innocence to be proved, that's going to come down into the courts, and when these cops end up going to court. Since your case is still ongoing, these cops that were there, they will be going to court at some point. So at the end it comes down to the judge and all that. So you're going to prove innocence, all those documents you have, save them, keep in touch with your lawyer, keep working on what you got to do.
Do you know about corruption within the NYPD? Have you personally heard or experienced any?
I haven't been a part of anything. Obviously I've heard stuff, but I haven't been part of anything personally, so.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
And what have you done about the things that you've heard?
I can't do nothing because these are past cases. I'm talking about I haven't done anything to it since I've been on the job. I'm talking about stuff that happened way before my time. I haven't been part of any corruption.
Oh, okay, no, okay. Well, I didn't mean in the past. Maybe like prehistoric times. I didn't mean in the past. I meant currently. During your tenure, as you're working, as an active NYPD officer, have you heard of corruption or dealt with any corruption?
No, not in the places I've worked in. No, I haven't. So.
No, I mean in the entire force.
No, well, in the entire force, I mean, it could have happened, but I probably don't know about it. So there's stuff that it's a big force, 35,000 of us. So I think
they don't train you guys on anti-corruption.
No, they train on anti-corruption, but we don't know every single case that's out there.
What cases do you know of? Because if they trained you, they had to tell you about cases so you can actually learn from them. What cases of corruption do you know about?
I don't know right now off the top of my head. I don't have any.
Okay, so there are cases of active corruption in the NYPD, as any organization that's large. Do you believe that it's okay to work with bad apples, or do you pluck them from the tree, or do you exclude yourself from working with bad apples? Like, how do you handle police corruption? Do you continuously work with them, or with the agency that still employs corrupt police officers, or do you quit? How do you handle that?
How do I handle what?
Working with corrupt NYPD police officers.
When it comes to that, that's when I have to get involved with the internal affairs and stuff, and we go from there. That's how I handle it.
Well, you know, the internal affairs actually closed about 12 of my complaints for the 13th false arrest that I've experienced in the past 4 years. They've closed all of my complaints.
You feel that this one's going to be closed?
I'm almost certain that it would be. If they didn't actually call me back with any results or any status update of any kind that they were closing it, or that they were going forward with charges or whatever, they never updated me either way. So since they practice business that way, I don't expect anything from this phone call. And that's the reason why I was asking you, how is this benefiting me? And I know that there's no way that you can tell me any benefit or any plus from me, and it was just actually helping you fulfill your job description.
This is just getting your end, because where this case goes, it could be people that haven't seen it, so they're getting your perspective. I mean, it doesn't mean that they're not going to reach out to you.
Oh, so, but you're just stating that as a guess, right?
As a guess?
Yeah, it's a possibility. You don't know that that's going to happen or not, right?
So your case is still ongoing. It's not going to be swept under the rug. You get what I mean? Because I'm not the top of the line guy here. You know, I'm just doing my part.
Okay.
And then when I press it forward, the investigation keeps going.
Okay, and what?
This is just a pre-investigation.
What has happened with the investigation so far that I need to know about as a victim?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. You're the one that's going to court.
No, I mean, no. I mean, me being a victim of that complaint, that's completely separate from the court case. I came into the precinct and filed a complaint, and as I told you, detectives are waiting on me to bring them video evidence of the crimes, and they said that if I had it, they can go forward with trying to find him and arrest him on completely different charges. So this is different from the court case that you just stated was ongoing. I filed charges against separately now.
Oh, you stopped. Oh, so that's totally different from here.
Yeah, I thought you would know that. You're calling from the same precinct.
Yeah, no. See, that's what I'm saying. Wasn't involved in this case at all. So I'm just going off of what I got here in front of me. What I have here in front of me is that it was about him getting a DAT, and that you were falsely accused. That's all I had here. That's all I go off to. All the other stuff, I don't know.
Okay, well now, sir, you know about corruption because I told you I'm being framed for crimes that I didn't commit, and the officers from your precinct, that transit precinct at Hoyt and Skimmerhorn, the sergeant, she's a short Mexican or Spaniard type of a woman. Her English is broken, and she has past her shoulder length hair. She's probably in her 40s or close to 50s. That woman there is completely corrupt because she arrested me. Now you know of corruption. Will you continue to work at that precinct, or how will you handle knowing that there's someone like me being a victim of police corruption and misconduct at your precinct?
I don't know how to answer that.
I have 4 children that needs me, and I don't think that anyone would appreciate being falsely accused of first-degree coercion. They're stating the fact that I said that I was going to expose her on my YouTube page. As I told you, I was stating accurate things that happened, and it was damaging to the government because it breaks down the public opinion. But those things that I was stating was accurate, but they're charging me for it and saying that I tried to coerce her to change the outcome of the Manhattan case. That's why I said I'm going to tape her, and that's why I was taping her March 5th. So they're flipping everything on me. So
pretty much this thing that happened in March is leading to other stuff, right?
Yeah, it did.
All right. And you feel that the cops are responsible, or part of the reason?
Yeah, the cops at your precinct. Yeah, the cops at your precinct.
All right. That's all I need to know. I'm probably gonna have to be calling you at some point again. So.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
all right. So just.
What can I expect from him? What can I expect from him?
When's you know when your next court date is?
No, I don't.
All right. So whenever that goes, just go through that process, and then hopefully everything gets dismissed for you. You know, you don't have to go back to jail.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Thank you for talking to me. Thank you for everything you said. And it looks like you're well prepared, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
All right. So have a great day. All right.
Okay. Thanks.